Should I continue babysitting for a lady whose baby is a doll? I'm 19, and I recently posted an ad offering babysitting services. A woman from my area reached out, saying she had an 11-month-old baby boy. I'll call him Toby. We agreed on £13 an hour, and she mentioned she'd be gone for 3 hours. When I arrived, she greeted me holding what looked like a baby. She handed it to me, saying, "This is Toby." It took me a moment to realize it was a doll. Unsure if she wanted me to care for the doll or if there was a misunderstanding, I asked if there were any other children in the house. She said no, just Toby. She mentioned there were baby monitors around for peace of mind. I nodded and she kissed the doll on the head before leaving. I found myself pretending the doll was real, hugging it and putting it in a bouncer. I even let it sleep in the crib. While in the bathroom, I noticed a picture on the wall of a real baby that looked similar to the doll. It dawned on me that this might be her way of grieving. I shed a few tears in that moment, feeling the weight of her loss. But when I went back downstairs, I put on a happy face and continued caring for the baby, even changing its nappy to reassure her if she was watching. When she returned, she asked how Toby was. I told her he was incredibly well behaved, even better than most babies. I decided to charge her for just 1 hour. Later, she messaged me again, asking if I could babysit another time. I haven't responded yet. My friends think I shouldn't take advantage of her, considering she might be struggling with her mental health. I agree. It's a really sad situation. They also think I should tell her the truth about the doll, but I'm torn. I don't know if that's my place, or if it would just hurt her more.
Female colleague let me use her Reddit account to do posts online. And I finally get why women are so cautious when it comes to dating men. Long story short, I was chatting with a female colleague about dating apps and the challenges of modern dating. We discussed how women seem to have so many options, but she pointed out that this abundance can make it hard for men to connect, especially if they don't meet certain expectations. She opened up about her wariness when it comes to dating and why she feels cautious around men who pursue her romantically. Then, she let me use her Reddit account, which she usually uses for makeup tutorials. She encouraged me to turn on the chats and see what happened. I was shocked by the flood of messages she received. She posted in spaces focused on fashion and beauty, so I expected some attention, but not like this. Her inbox was overflowing, with over 500 messages. There were different types of people reaching out. Some came with genuine intentions, offering fashion advice based on her pictures, but quickly shifted to asking if she was dating. Others simply asked if they could chat. Then there were those who showered her with compliments, saying things like, "You look beautiful," or "Wow, you're so hot." And then there were the more explicit messages. Some men were blunt, saying things like, "You're sexy, let's hook up," or even sending unsolicited pictures. This experience really changed my perspective on dating. I was taken aback by how many men presented themselves as nice guys, only to quickly shift their intentions to something more personal. It's unsettling to see how quickly some of these guys wanted to exchange details or meet up, often without even sharing a photo. I've learned a lot from this, and while it will take time to process, it's opened my eyes to the realities many women face.
I'm dying, and I'm absolutely terrified. Thank you to everyone for the support and advice. I've received so many messages asking for updates, and I promise to keep you all posted. If anyone has any unconventional suggestions to help me, I'm all ears. At this point, I feel like I have nothing left to lose. I never thought I'd be facing something like this at 27. I only recently learned that what I have is incurable, and my body is deteriorating in ways I can't control. It all started 7 months ago with mild symptoms after getting COVID. Then, after taking antibiotics for suspected Lyme disease, I began losing collagen throughout my body. In just 1 week, everything changed. My urine became constantly cloudy, yet the hospitals couldn't find any signs of infection or issues. It feels like I'm literally losing myself from the inside out. They've tried immunosuppressants, even when there were no inflammation markers, but nothing has worked. I'm left hoping for a miracle, that somehow my body will stop this breakdown. COVID triggered something in me that made my own cells turn against me. It's just terrible luck. I know tomorrow isn't guaranteed, but I never imagined it would unfold like this, so brutally. I'm getting help for the emotional side, but I wish there was something for the physical part too. I crave hope, even just a glimmer of it. I want to scream, to escape, to do everything I can, but I feel so trapped. There's so much I still want to experience. I would give anything for just one more year of perfect health, to truly live it to the fullest. I recently watched the movie Soul, and it reminded me to cherish every moment. Please enjoy every minute you have. Life can change in an instant. Be kind to those around you. You never know when it might be the last day. I'm scared of dying. I don't know how to cope with it. I know I'm supposed to accept it, but I just can't. I live in Minneapolis, and I'm horrified. I don't know what the rest of the country is seeing, but things are really bad here. ICE is targeting anyone who isn't white. They don't care if they have a warrant or if what they're doing is legal. They're just taking anyone who looks suspicious to them. Our neighbors are terrified to leave their homes. Minneapolis public schools closed last week because ICE was frightening students and teachers as they left for the day. The city is now offering e-learning so people can stay inside. Many businesses keep their doors locked during business hours because owners fear ICE will barge in without a warrant and take their employees or customers. For many businesses owned by people of color, you have to knock and wait for someone to decide you're safe to let in. Some places are closing early or not opening at all because of ICE. People are scared to walk to and from their cars, knowing ICE waits for vulnerable moments to snatch someone off the street. I watched my neighbors get dragged from their home last week while their young child stood in the doorway crying. They're going door to door, taking anyone who seems illegal, which often means anyone who isn't white or speaks a different language. Just last week, they shot one of our residents in the face and killed her for trying to drive away. The officer hasn't been arrested. Ironically, an ICE agent nearly hit me with their car the day before that, simply because I was recording him and asking him to leave. They have no rules and no accountability. They threaten anyone who opposes them with mace, tear gas, and guns. They've broken windows and maced car vents just for observing them legally. Everyone in my neighborhood is terrified, and I don't think most people grasp how bad this really is or how much worse it could get. We're having to patrol our neighborhoods to protect each other from being terrorized or taken. This may seem like an exaggeration to anyone who doesn't live here, but it's not. I've been patrolling my neighborhood for weeks now, and I'm horrified by what I've seen. The sound of car horns and whistles now gives me anxiety because my nervous system associates it with ICE. The only good thing about all of this is seeing the community come together to support and protect one another. Things are scary right now, but I truly love the people of Minneapolis.
I think my father took care of my uncle. For context, I've been in therapy for nearly a decade, processing the abuse I endured as a child. Over time, I've uncovered fragments of the trauma inflicted by my uncle. I remember the pain I felt, the bleeding, and those solo trips we took while my father was in the hospital. There were moments when I was too much to handle, and I was left unconscious. I can still picture my mother cleaning me, the burning sensation lingering. The signs were all there, and deep down I believe she knew. For a long time I thought she stayed silent, allowing the abuse to continue. But now, as I piece together my memories, I wonder if she did tell my father, and if he handled it. I recall conversations with a cleaning lady about how dusty my uncle's apartment was, and how he seemed to vanish overnight. I was just a child, lost in confusion. My father, a police officer, had the knowledge to make things disappear quietly. I don't blame him, nor do I wish he had acted differently. How could I ever approach him with a question like, "What happened to my uncle? He hurt me, didn't he?" In truth, I owe so much to my father. The thought that he ensured someone who violated a child, who violated me, would never see the light of day, brings me some comfort. The justice system often fails victims, especially when it involves those in law enforcement. He likely would have faced little consequence, while I would have been subjected to interrogation and forced to relive what my young mind couldn't fully grasp. I've discussed everything with my therapist, but I can't bring myself to share this theory, especially for my father's sake. I want to ask him to confront this unspoken truth, but I think we both understand that some conversations are best left unspoken. Got drunk last night and hid $3,000 cash from myself. I found the money. My coffee pot is on a little cabinet that rolls out, and I just tossed it back there. I swear it was the last thing I touched in this house, and I was looking right next to it for a while. I got a little too drunk last night. I was chatting with a woman, and the conversation started to heat up. In hopes of getting her to come over, I began cleaning up. Apparently, I have trust issues because I hid my cash and then couldn't find it after tearing my house apart for hours. No, I'm not rich. That was basically all the money I have. I'm sure it'll turn up, but I just hope it shows up before some bills come due. I think it's time to take a look at my drinking habits. I was quietly freaking out. The real problem is that it wasn't lost, just hidden. And she didn't even come over. So I essentially lost a Saturday looking for cash I hid from myself for no reason. I faintly remember sticking my arm under something, like a mattress. But I've looked under every mattress multiple times. My real worry is that it's tightly folded and wrapped in rubber bands. So I might have tucked it somewhere small that I just can't see. I've checked everywhere, under every mattress, the toilet, the drop ceiling, and through every folded blanket and towel. I even pulled every piece of furniture off the wall and checked all my shoes. I keep laughing to myself about how clever I thought I was with my hiding spot. But in the end, I found the money. It was right where I left it, hidden behind the coffee pot. I can't believe I was so frantic over something I had just misplaced.
6 months ago, I was falsely accused of a terrible crime. The truth has finally come out, and now my life can begin to get back on track. First off, I want to clarify that this isn't about saying all women lie. I know too many women who have been victims, and I've seen the deep impact it has had on their lives. So please, don't start with that. Almost 6 months ago, the police showed up at my door to question me. They asked a few questions, and later, I was arrested on suspicion of a serious offense. Once that happened, my life was turned upside down. My family believed her. My mother told me she no longer had a son. My father openly insulted me in public. My neighbors turned their backs, looking at me with disgust. My employer placed me on paid leave, understandably trying to protect the company's reputation. I could no longer coach my team, which was heartbreaking. I'm bisexual. And my boyfriend stood by me through all of this. We woke up to find our house vandalized and my tires slashed more often than I could have imagined. Yet he held my hand in public, gripping it tighter when neighbors whispered about me. He was one of the few who kept me going. Another person who supported me was my ex. We share a son, and she backed me throughout this ordeal. For safety reasons, I had to stop bringing him to my house, not because he was unsafe with me, but because of how others might react. Still, I visited him most days at her place, reading him bedtime stories and hearing about his day. Those moments meant more to me than she knows. 2 weeks ago, the charges were dropped. The accuser had messaged a friend while drunk, revealing the truth that aligned with my version of events. That friend shared the messages with the police, and from there, she withdrew her accusation. There were also other inconsistencies that came to light. Since then, people have approached me to apologize, or worse, to say they didn't know what to think. My attitude moving forward is clear. My mother, no matter how many times she apologizes, no longer has a son. My father will never share another drink with his son. My neighbors can keep their distance. It's oddly freeing to finally know who truly has my back. I found clarity and I'm happy again. Tomorrow, I'm proposing to my boyfriend. He has proven more than anyone should have to that he's my partner. We're also moving out of this area, but closer to my son.
Money has officially changed my dog. My beagle grew up in a humble home. She never experienced the luxuries that many dogs take for granted. Her idea of fun was chewing on my shoes or any random object she could find on the floor. Her meals consisted of basic dog food bought in bulk. As a broke student, all I could offer her was my love and care. When I returned to school, there was no one to look after her. My dad and I both worked late, so I had no choice but to let my sister adopt her. Little did I know this was the start of her social climber era. At my sister's house, she has her own cozy bed, eats premium food, enjoys mountains of plush toys, and gets groomed monthly. She even sleeps in a room with air conditioning. But what's infuriating is that when I visit, she barks at me like I'm a stranger. I know I'm not wealthy, but I wish she wouldn't be ashamed of me. I want to remind her of her roots before she starts acting like she's above me. I visited her today and brought some fried chicken leftovers. She just sniffed it, walked away, and rolled her eyes at me. Excuse me? She used to love rice with noodle soup broth. My sister even changed her name from Bella to Ruby. It's such a dramatic name. You'd think she's a character from a telenovela seeking revenge for being abandoned. I didn't expect that a dog's attitude could change with a taste of wealth. Money really does change everyone, even dogs. She's become so snobbish and elitist, you'd think she comes from old money. But honestly, it makes me happy to see her spoiled and living comfortably. It's an achievement to see my fur baby in a good situation. Still, part of me feels like she's disowned me, trading our past for a lavish life. Enjoy my sister's wealth while you can, because when school break starts, it'll be Tibble and rice for you again.
While taking a family photo, I realized I broke my family's generational trauma. Growing up, I witnessed my mother endure so much pain. She was often shouted at and hurt, and I faced the same when I made mistakes. Mistakes that every child makes. The thought of going home after school, especially when my dad and some relatives were around, filled me with dread. During family gatherings, when it was time for photos, my brother and I struggled to smile or stand still as our dad wanted. His anger would erupt, and we would be scolded to the point of tears. Just thinking about those moments makes me tremble. It would ruin our entire day. My mom often told me how my grandfather was even worse, and his father before him was no better. Both were heavy drinkers, and she feared I might end up the same. To protect me, she encouraged me to stay away from home after school. Now, living far away, I have a loving wife and a beautiful daughter. One day, my daughter used my wife's nail polish and lipstick to draw on the wall. My wife was understandably upset and called me explaining what happened. Our daughter, hiding in her tent, asked her to call me for help, hoping I would save her from punishment. In that moment, my heart swelled with happiness. She wanted me there when she made a mistake, trusting and loving me in a way I could never have imagined with my dad. I went home and chose not to be angry. Instead, I talked to her about how her actions could cause problems for both of us, and how we would need to clean it up together. I even bought her some drawing books and colored pencils to encourage her creativity. The most important moment came when we were about to take our family photo. My wife and daughter were ready, and as I set up the timer, my daughter started giggling. Soon my wife joined in, and I couldn't help but remember how different my childhood was. In that moment, I felt a sense of power, a cosmic shift that offered me a glimpse of peace from my past. I began to laugh with them, and we all burst into laughter, completely losing track of time. We laughed for a good 5 to 10 minutes before finally taking the photo. In that picture, my daughter was beaming, my wife was on the verge of bursting into laughter, and I wore a genuine smile. It's my favorite family photo now. I realized I have the power to choose how we respond to mistakes. I decided that in our family, laughter would prevail, and no one would be shouted at or punished. The trauma ends with me.
I told my little brother I don't remember our childhood, and I hate myself for it. I'm 31, and my brother is 24. Yesterday he called me out of the blue, after years of silence. Not from a fight, just life and distance. He sounded nervous, but hopeful, sharing that he had been going through old things at our mom's place. He found a shoebox filled with random items, a report card, a broken Game Boy, and a photo of us on the couch, both wearing blank expressions. Then he asked me, very quietly, do you remember when Mom used to make us sit in the hallway when she was mad? My stomach dropped because yes, I remember it like it's branded on me. I recall the carpet pattern, the smell of laundry soap, and counting the cracks in the wall to keep from crying. If I cried, it only got worse. He brought up a specific night from our childhood when he got sick and felt like no one noticed for hours. He wondered if he imagined it or if it actually happened. I heard my own heartbeat, and instead of being honest, I told him, I don't really remember that, sorry. He fell silent, then said, okay, maybe I'm mixing it up, trying not to be a burden. I kept going, saying we had a normal childhood, that we were fine, that Mom was just stressed. It felt like I was reciting a script I've used my whole adult life. The moment I hung up, I started shaking. I realized I had done the very thing that hurt me. I made him question his own reality. I don't even know why I did it. Part of me wants to protect our parents because they're older now, and I'm tired. Another part is terrified that if I admit I remember, I'll have to feel it all again and support him when he falls apart. I'm not sure I can do that. But he deserved better than my lies to keep things peaceful. I keep replaying his little okay, and it feels like I betrayed him twice, once back then by being helpless, and now by choosing comfort over truth. I just needed to share this because I can't stomach myself today.
Anyone else feel deeply tired of this world? Not suicidal, just done? I don't really know how to put this into words, but I'll try. Lately, I've been exploring ideas like nihilism, absurdism, and stoicism while looking at the world around me. Politics, greed, cruelty, war, and exploitation weigh heavily on my heart. The suffering of animals, children, and people in conflict makes me feel physically sick. I'm not suicidal. I don't want to harm myself. But I can't shake the thought of death. Not in a dramatic sense, but as a kind of impatience. Maybe death is peaceful. Maybe there's rest on the other side. I hate even admitting that. I feel exhausted by humanity. Betrayals, abandonment, and friendships that never quite work out leave me feeling misunderstood. I pour so much of myself into others, only to realize how disposable I am to them. It makes life feel meaningless at times, like I don't matter at all. I don't find joy in things anymore. The only comfort I have is food. Homemade, cruelty-free meals that align with my values. I care deeply about animals and reducing harm. I want to be a better human, but even that feels heavy sometimes. I struggle to find the motivation to work out or go outside. I have a business that's doing well, and I'm grateful for that. But mostly I work from home. I'm trying to take care of myself through massages, routines, therapy, and medication. But the emptiness lingers. I love my cats and care deeply for my partner. They ground me. Yet I still feel like I don't belong in this world. I feel too sensitive, like I see too much and can't unsee it. Sometimes I feel ahead in my values, wanting less cruelty and more compassion, which makes everyday life feel absurd and isolating. Humans can disgust me, and then I feel guilty for feeling that way. I don't know if this is depression, medication side effects, existential burnout, or just being an empath in a harsh world. Maybe it's all of it. I'm not looking for toxic positivity or simple advice to just be grateful. Does anyone else feel this way? Has anyone made it through this phase and found meaning again? If you felt this and survived, I'd really appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for listening.
I was used for fetish content without my knowledge. So this happened a few years ago when I was just 18. My mom came into my room one day, excitedly telling me about a post on Facebook. It was about a heartfelt oncology solidarity photo shoot, and they were looking for models. They even offered $500 for it. I thought, why not? I'd be donating my hair, doing something positive, and getting paid for it. I messaged them on WhatsApp and spoke to a woman from Spain who was part of the program. After an interview and sending some photos, they mentioned they'd also shave my brows for an extra $200. I agreed. $700 is still $700. They accepted me, set the date, and told me to wear something sleeveless and tight. I was a bit unsure, but went along with it. The day arrived.
and my mom and I went to a small salon with a cameraman who seemed inexperienced. They interviewed me again, this time on camera. When they asked why I wanted to participate, I spoke about showing solidarity for those suffering from cancer. The lady interrupted me, telling me to say I was just feeling experimental and brave. Then they made me say the name of a website, something like, "Come and watch me shave my head on this site." Suddenly, they painted my lips with bright red lipstick and started the photo shoot. They had me pose, act like I was cutting my hair, and then they cut it into a strange angled bob. I thought I was donating my hair, but I didn't question it then. After that, they shaved my head and brows and made me pose outside, in public. Once we returned to the salon, I got praised and paid. They promised to send me the edited pictures. But weeks passed, and I didn't hear anything. I eventually forgot about it until a few months later when I remembered the website and decided to check it out. What I found shocked me. It was a pay-to-view site. There was a preview of me, but they had changed my name and added a suggestive description. The pictures looked awful, and I couldn't access the rest without paying. I convinced myself it wasn't for fetish content and tried to move on. Fast forward to today. I randomly remembered the website and searched for it again, just for fun. I discovered they had a YouTube channel, and my video was their most viewed one. The comments were cruel, and the description was degrading. The footage was unedited and painful to look at. I honestly don't know whether to cry or laugh. Right now, I'm just shaking from the adrenaline. What a mess.